What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Episode 43.
43. Say 43. With some gusto.
Well, that was, I almost thought it was 44. But we are back. Hope you guys are having a wonderful start to the new year. How are we doing?
We're great. Yeah. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Fun weekend. Good weekend for sports. Love seeing a Packers loss, unfortunately. And now, what's crazy is I saw something on Twitter. Also, we are on Twitter. Sippin' Sports is the tag. But
what else did you see on Twitter, David?
What I saw on Twitter was crazy. Is literally all these Packers players are now coming out like, I think that was my last game in Green Bay. I think it was last. Alan Lazard said it. Aaron Rodgers. It's all these now things about how he wants to keep his jersey because it might be his last jersey. Him and Randall Cobb, they caught some hot mics like, hey, just try to enjoy the good times. So it sounds like...
Well, he knew what he was doing.
Oh, 1,000%, but I don't think Alan Lazard knew it.
The camera was on him the entire post game, literally from when the game ended to when he walked into the tunnel. The camera literally never left him.
As it should.
The entire time.
I think he'll be gone though. Truthfully, I think he will.
Like done.
Or no, I think he'll find another team.
Really?
Probably for like a 1 year, 2 year thing, and they'll bite the bullet and say, hey. Kind of like what the Rams initially did with Matthew Stafford. Like, hey, we have a decent team. Let's go try to win a championship. Which team that might be, I don't know.
We can speculate.
Yeah, 100%.
Later.
That's what's the fun part. That's off season.
That's true. All right, well, let's jump in. What's your top moment that you saw this last week?
Yeah, top moment. Lovie Smith, coach of the Texans, won their final game against the Colts. Mm-hmm. Got fired. I think it was the next day. It was Monday. Got fired.
Yeah, last night,
tonight, whatever. Yeah. Throughout after the game sometime.
Or Sunday night, I should say.
Gets fired, but with the win and the Bears loss, the Bears now have the number 1 seed. So
pick.
Number 1 pick. Oh yeah, number 1 pick. Yeah, whatever. So the Texans lost the number 1 pick, and it was word on the street was that Lovie Smith had a meeting, like you said, with the GM. No, and they basically
I think it was GM and owner.
Oh, so both, and basically told him that
during the week last week.
Basically told him that he wasn't going to come back. And I love that he went for 2 and said, screw you guys, I'm giving up your first pick then. Which is crazy because there's not one coach in history that would go to the Texans team for 1 year with everything that happened to them and be successful. No chance. No chance.
I mean, their
starting quarterback's trash.
Yeah.
Your running back is a good future player. Your defense...
was a rookie.
Rookie. Your defense was actually not terrible. But your leading wide receiver, Brandon Cooks, basically sat out and now says he doesn't want to come back if it's a rebuild, which it sounds like it's going to be a rebuild.
Well, it has to be.
So it's like, how do you expect a coach to succeed? You can't just keep going through coaches.
Yeah, they're on 1 year deals, basically.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, if you're a coach, why would you even want to go there? But
yeah, I wouldn't.
No. So we'll see what happens.
Well, did you watch the last drive? That was wild.
Yeah, they show
4th and 12, then they get like a 25, 30 yard reception, and then 4th and 20.
Touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should not have been a touchdown.
No, and when he caught it, it actually was crazy because like when he caught it, the defenders really weren't that close. It wasn't like it was a chuck up. It was literally he was open.
Well, the ball went through the guy's hands.
Yeah, and then it just literally was like, holy moly.
Straight into him. Yeah.
But
who would have thought? My top moment is, for obvious reasons, one, the Packers losing. But more so, let's give the Lions a little bit of credit. They already knew they were out of the playoffs. They didn't care. And what kind of like brought that to light even more after the first quarter, when they interviewed Dan Campbell, the person that was interviewing him, she was like, well, you know, what's your motivation in this game knowing that you guys are already eliminated from the playoffs? And he goes, well, we might not be in the playoffs, but we're going to make sure that they're not in the playoffs. Which is just like the best response, knowing kind of like what his personality is. And it's just like, we don't really care that we're not in. Their message was, even if we can't get in, they're not going to get in.
Right. Well, and I think he's one of those coaches, and I think that's kind of what, when you look at our division, like the Lions could, if they put some pieces to the puzzle on defense, and like even like their Jeff Okudah, who's been hurt everything.
Hurt a lot.
So he's been hurt. They use a few draft picks, trade for maybe some people. Their offense is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, Jamal Williams obviously is a free agent, so we'll see what happens there.
He was a beast this year.
But also, like at the same time, what's crazy is the fact of like, dude, when DeAndre Swift played, DeAndre Swift is good. He's very good if he can stay healthy. Here's the crazy thing. Jamal Williams breaks Barry Sanders' record for most touchdowns this season.
Yeah.
They showed a stat that said they listed all the touchdowns. More than half of them were 1-yard touchdown rushes.
They went down at the 1-yard line a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
And it's even what's crazy is they had a play against the Packers where it looked like the guy caught a deep ball that could have, quote unquote, been a touchdown. They didn't even review it. They were like, Jamal, run it in.
Yeah.
And he just ran it in
We're
next play.
good.
And I think that was for the record. And it's kind of like, it'll be interesting to see if they re-sign him where a team kind of sits out and goes, all right, we're going to give Jamal Williams a chance. Because I don't know if he's dynamic enough to be a number one. But
No,
he's a solid number two.
Well, he's perfect for them with DeAndre Swift, who has had health issues.
Right.
And gets injured all the time. Because it's like, okay, for any short yardage situation or somebody to run inside the tackles, we're just going to give it to Jamal.
100%.
And then any of the speed stuff, then we can just or just short passes, dump offs, we're just going to use DeAndre.
Yeah. What's crazy is it'll be interesting to see next year if DeAndre Swift can actually maintain and stay healthy. Because they started playing Justin Jackson a lot.
Now.
Right. And it's just crazy because it's like he is so good. And Jared Goff isn't the greatest quarterback, but he's fine for that
He didn't
offense.
look great last.
He didn't start off great, but he had
against
some
the Packers.
Yeah, he had some nice passes, but it's like Amon-Ra St. Brown is a beast.
All of his passes were low.
Yeah, well, it's different
All
playing in that conditions too when it's cold and you're used to playing it. I'm not trying to make the guy excuses. He's fine for that offense, but at the same time, you got to get him another weapon because you lost Hawkinson.
Mm-hmm.
So Amon-Ra St. Brown is the best wide receiver. And
they needed. Well, Jameson Williams started to.
Yeah, he's a deep ball guy. He is fast.
Yeah, he is.
And I think it's just crazy when you watch them play. Like, they started out the year and everyone was like, oh, it's the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
They were one win here or there away from making the playoffs.
They should have beat Carolina. That was the one win 3-4 weeks ago.
100%.
If they would have beat them, which was on paper a game that they probably should have won, then they'd be in the playoffs.
Right. So I think they need to solidify the defense. But going back to your point with the Packers, there's nothing else to really say. You don't want to harp on it too much, and maybe we'll talk about it later when we talk NFL. But it's just you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, wide receivers drop.
Who played terrible.
Yeah, and I think it's just so crazy. It's you look at it, even if you want him back, or even if, he's a Hall, you almost have to start the rebuild process because every time he would throw a ball and no one would catch it, he would be so pissed off.
Well, he gets hit one time, throws an interception, and gets pissed at
the receiver.
You got pissed at the ref because they didn't call a roughing the passer. Yeah,
it's just this guy. I get he's a very talented quarterback, and maybe a team will take a chance. But I don't know. You really miss Devontae Adams, who caught everything for you.
Yeah,
you really do. So
he ain't got it anymore. Yeah. I also think Aiden Hutchinson is so good.
Yeah, he's a freak. He's very good. So that's what I'm saying. You put another defensive guy there.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yep. There you have
that offensive coordinator is fun to watch too. Who runs a hook and ladder play on a 3rd and something?
No, second and 17.
I thought it was 3rd because that was 4th down. They caught the pass on.
No, 2nd and 17. Then they got it to 3rd and 3. Then they got 2 yards, and then it was 4th and 1.
Oh, I thought that was 3rd down.
Uh-uh.
Either way, that's just fun to watch. And also like you mentioned before, last part about it, Dan Campbell's a guy you want to play for.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's just a guy you want to play for.
Yeah.
Defense, they played well defense against Green Bay, but their defense was atrocious all year. So
yeah, maybe they'll figure it out.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. What do we got? Minnesota Minute.
Yeah. So T-Wolves 4-0 to start 2023, kind
Love
of
it.
heating up. They play the Pistons and the Suns coming up, and then also the Cavaliers. Gopher basketball lost a heartbreaker in overtime to Nebraska. Probably one of the few games we could have potentially won this year in the Big Ten. We play Ohio State next. Vikings, obviously, we talked about it, beat Chicago. We're now officially the number 3 seed, and we play the Giants at home, which, to be honest,
Sunday 3:30.
Pretty good. I would take it. I don't think Seattle's anything really to reckon with, but the Giants, I think we match up well with the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Minnesota Wild 22-14-3. So they play the Rangers, Islanders, and the Coyotes coming up this week. And then St. Thomas basketball sitting at 13-3. They play Kansas City and Oral Roberts coming up next.
They've been playing well.
They have, yeah. So
good stuff. All right, our picks. We're circling back. So we are verified now. So if you're looking for expert picks on My Action Network, we got the check marks. So take that as you will.
I'll say this. I've said this before. The one thing I hate about verified, and I'll say it forever, you can't make live bets, can't make prop bets, and also you can't even delete a pick before the game even starts. That makes no sense to me.
I mean, it's similar to sports books. Like most.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I get it. But
Don't
for
let
an
you
app,
cash out before you can.
Yeah, but I can still do a prop bet or a live bet.
Well, yeah, but that's because it's with one specific sports book.
Yeah, I still think it should just be.
For instance, if you look at somebody's receiving yards, and I'm not saying it's good that they don't have these possibilities or not, but if you look at somebody's prop bet, we'll just say receiving yards. Yeah. It could be 78.5 on one and 74.5 or whatever, and so trying to come up with the consensus middle between all of the sports books and everybody's like specific individual lines, probably pretty challenging. Yeah. Whereas like a spread for a whole team, that's probably a little easier.
Yeah, probably around that. But I mean, yeah, because you can average.
Same kind of thing.
You kind of average them out though, because it's like the lines will always be, even if it's 3.5. Some books might do minus 105, 110. I get what you're saying. I just think they got to figure something out for live bets, because live bets are one of the most fun things to do. Like during the Super Bowl, live bets are great. They can't do anything, or prop bets for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, I would say, to me, the prop bets would be easier because you pretty much have to do prop bets before the game starts. Right. So like that being added sounds more realistic than adding live betting.
Yeah, 100%. We'll see what happens.
But yeah. But anyways, so reason why you should follow is we were both positive this week. Dave was 27 and 26 overall, putting him at 4-3 NBA, 16 and 16 NCAA basketball, 5-5 NFL, and 2-2 NCAA football. Schmack. There you go. Schmack. In the green. My overall record was 21 and 20.
Oh, well, we were both one game over 500.
Yep, exactly. One game over. But that put me at 6-1 NBA, 9 and 15 NCAA basketball, 5-2 NFL, and 1-2 NCAA football. So
yeah, there it is. It's an easy app. It's a good app.
I mean, not to toot my own horn, but that puts me at 17 and 4 on NBA in the last 2 weeks. That's pretty good.
I mean, it sounds like you just tooted your own horn.
Okay, you're right. I was trying to toot my own.
Yeah, I was gonna say. But pause. There's a positive and a negative to that. Positive is you're very good at NBA bets. The negative is that means you're really bad at other things. But we're trying to stay positive.
Yeah, we're only
more NBA bets
positive
in the future, I think. So
yeah, right.
We'll see what happens.
Yep. And with that, we're moving on to the beer and seltzer. What seltzer are we drinking?
Yeah,
today?
So we're going to try something new. It's called Central Waters Hard Seltzer.
Where is Central Waters?
I don't know. I think it's just the name of it. Central Waters is in Amherst, Wisconsin. Actually, that's where my good buddy Willie Dahl's from. So it's Central Waters Brewing Company, Amherst, Wisconsin. The kind is called ThimbleBerry Lemonade.
Really?
ThimbleBerry.
What is a ThimbleBerry, David?
I could not tell you. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
There's got to be a picture of it on the side.
Oh, it looks just like an orange.
Looks like a raspberry.
And a raspberry. But I don't know if that means. Interesting.
I don't know.
I don't know why the orange would be on there.
Our beer that we're going with today is from Firestone. It's a Mocha Dolce Nitro Stout.
Ooh, it's going to be dark.
Yeah, it's going to pop.
Hopefully.
It says coffee, vanilla, and cocoa nib Nitro Stout.
Does it have caffeine?
I don't know. Oh, master the surge pour. Invert can 3 times. Pour hard straight down. Wait, admire, enjoy. It's a lot of pressure.
So you have to turn it upside down?
Yeah. It's going to pop.
So you have to like spin it 3 times or what?
Right.
Invert can 3 times. So you're just going to shake it left to right and then you're literally just going to go like this.
Yeah. It's going to pop loudly.
Yeah, that's... Don't go by the microphone. No, disappointing.
That was not...
No, straight up and down, quick. Dude, it's more of a 90-degree angle. Does look like a cup of Joe though. That's what they wanted you to do right there. The upside this. But now we have to just admire. Whoa. It's kind of cool how
I can admire it.
it actually kind of does look cool.
That was not as loud as I was expecting.
No, because remember, we had a Nitro Stout that we opened and it was like poof.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the Nitro?
That was the
Was
Nitro.
the Nitro?
Stout. Yeah.
So
It's got a nice foam top.
it does. It actually has a nice color.
All right, ThimbleBerry.
ThimbleBerry, we're back to being clear,
What do you
very
got for
clear.
us?
You can actually see right through it.
And it looks like there's a lot of carbonation in it. That's my first note. First thing I noticed. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, first glance.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know necessarily what a ThimbleBerry is, so I'm not going to comment on that. But I don't taste the lemonade as much.
It's very light. Very light.
Yeah, it's like a hint of lemonade, maybe. And with
I think
that, I
there's
don't
a
think it
hint
has.
of nothing.
Yeah, I don't think there is a lot of flavor at all.
No. It tastes like sparkling water to me, honestly. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is for you to decide. But if you're looking for something that has a lot of flavor,
Yeah,
probably not your...
not your cup of tea. It
Not-
only has 4.7 alcohol volume. I think most have 5. Oh, the first ingredient, carbonated water.
Well, there you go. That makes sense then.
Yeah, that is. So, it's just part of the lighter stuff. And another one. So yeah, I mean, I think it's. I don't know. Like you said, it's just carbonated water. It literally is carbonated water
Interesting. Yeah. Carbonated water.
with a hint of.
Carbonation.
Yeah, there's nothing else really to it.
Pretty much.
Oof,
a
that's tough.
carbonated water with a hint of carbonation.
Yeah, that's tough.
Huh. It's challenging to score.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you want? Water?
Yeah, what do you want? Like carbonated water? Like, here's the thing is, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's literally carbonated water. Like, and we're probably being generous by saying there's a hint of something in there. I mean, it literally tastes like carbonated water, like I've said for the 10th time.
Yeah.
And it's just as
All right,
crazy that
what's
there's
your score?
alcohol. 4.9.
All right.
There literally doesn't even taste. I mean, I don't know how
I
there's
put
alcohol.
5.
Yeah, I don't know how there's alcohol.
Because it's kind of just like nondescript. So it's right in the middle for me. Like,
Yeah, it just doesn't.
is it flavorful? No.
No.
Does it taste like water? Yes. And if that's the case, then it's not bad. It's not good. It just kind of is. So it's right down the middle. 5 for me.
Yeah, I would like a little more flavor.
4.9 for Dave.
Yeah. And by a little, I mean a lot.
Alrighty. The Nitro Stout. Is this going to be as smooth as the other one? We'll see. It's got a nice foam top. You going to suck it
Whoa.
off?
No comment.
That is
It's very smooth.
smooth. Can you taste the coffee?
Yeah, I actually can taste the coffee.
Can you taste the vanilla?
No.
I can.
There's a little. There's a little, yeah. If you focus, if like you were to tell me like, hey, there's vanilla in there, I would be like, okay, there's vanilla.
What about cocoa nib?
What is that? Is that just coffee?
I don't know. That's what it says.
Well, I can taste the
Cocoa
cocoa, but
nib.
that's just coffee for me. I can more to. I think it goes coffee, vanilla, cocoa. What nib?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
That's probably where the mocha flavor is
Coming
going.
from? Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't think. I think it's definitely smooth. It definitely has a lot more flavor than the seltzer. So we're definitely getting two ends of the spectrum here.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Let me get one more taste in it. All right, David, what score are you?
I'm gonna say a 6-1.
Okay.
I think it's flavorful. I think it's good. It's very easy, very smooth to drink.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just kind of teetering on that line. I think I've kind of noticed with the dark beers, I will say anything in the 6s is probably a pretty good scale for me to say, hey, that was pretty good.
Okay.
Because I just feel like I would never want 2 straight dark beers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, is this good? 100%. Would I want 2 in a row? No.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It doesn't like fill me up, or it's not like anything like that. It's just like with dark beers, I don't know.
It's fairly light for a dark beer. It's only 6%.
Yeah.
So that part's good.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a 6.9.
Nice.
I think it's pretty good. Well, probably a little bit better than pretty good. But I think I don't exactly remember what I gave the last Nitro Stout. I think I liked that one a little bit more.
That one had the big pop.
Yeah.
Off the can.
It seemed like it was a little bit smoother.
Yep.
The last one, which I liked. Still a good amount of flavor.
Right.
And in this kind of realm, like the chocolatey, like vanilla-ish realm.
Yeah.
But it's pretty easy to drink, and it's not like overpowering, which I like about the Nitros.
Yeah, I think the Nitros are definitely easier to drink. I think with it being said like that, oh boy, with that being said, like on the fact of when you drink dark beers, you kind of feel like you're drinking like a meal. Like they're very heavy. These stouts or these Nitros.
This one doesn't really feel like
not at
that.
all. It's very smooth to go down, so I
Which
think
I
it is
like.
pretty good.
Yeah. All right.
So that's our review.
And that's what they call a review.
Schmack.
Okay. What do you got? Seltzer,
Oof.
ThimbleBerry.
ThimbleBerry lemonade. And there
ThimbleBerry
wasn't a
lemonade.
whole lot of lemonade, and no one knows what a ThimbleBerry is.
4.9 for Dave, 5.0 for me. And then the Firestone Mocha Dolce from Firestone Walker Brewing Company. That's in California. That 6.9 for me, 6.1 for Dave.
There it is. So
Bam.
bang bang. Where was that out of?
Paso Robles in California.
Oh, California.
Yeah.
Okay. So there it is.
Cool.
It's not bad.
Yep. All right, we're diving into NFL. So regular season done. Into the playoff picture. So the matchups have been set. Before we get to that, is there anything else that we want to talk about regarding the NFL not
Not playoff
associated
picture.
to the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting offseason for a lot of teams. Obviously, Cardinals fired Cliff Kingsbury.
After just signing an extension till 2027.
Yeah, and I think it makes it hard. I do think they weren't necessarily on the same page. You would have thought because Kyler's kind of a run and gun guy. I don't know. I always think it's kind of hard to be like, hey, your starting quarterback gets hurt for the last X amount of games. Didn't make a huge difference because they weren't playing well.
They were already done.
Your number one wide receiver, who's also a pretty good wide receiver, hurt or suspended. Sorry, not hurt. The beginning of the season. I've said this before. I don't think Kyler Murray is that guy that's going to take you to that next level. So I think they're always going to be average. Unfortunately for Cliff Kingsbury, the bro just could never finish anything. He was literally great at the beginning and then just fall off.
And terrible time management, clock
Horrible
management,
time management.
timeouts. That was the worst.
Right. Terrible. So, unfortunately, he's gone, so they'll find a new coach. Obviously, Lovie Smith. Texans, we talked about new coach. Colts, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Jeff Saturday, or I just can't imagine.
They'll find a new person.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's playing, or he's going to be the coach. So, I don't know. It'll be a fun offseason.
And the Panthers are looking for a coach, too.
Correct. And here's the thing. The Panthers actually look decent.
And the Broncos.
Nathaniel Hackett got fired?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah. So we got the Broncos, we got the Panthers, Cardinals, Texans, Colts.
Wow.
I think there's 5 currently. I think.
Belichick said he's coming back 24th year.
That doesn't surprise me.
So, what's crazy is I did see something that said potentially Cliff Kingsbury, offensive coordinator. Yeah, of course. Hackett was trash.
Oh, and potentially the Rams. Apparently,
Yeah, I saw that.
McVay is looking to potentially leave.
Yeah. Also, the great candidate, Jim Harbaugh. I know he said he wants to stay at Michigan. Would be a great
he
candidate.
can say that all the time. He'll still be in consideration.
Yeah, so there it is. Sean Payton.
Yeah. Well, okay, so with the Bears getting the first overall pick, what do you think the percentage is that they draft at the number 1 pick come NFL draft time? Like percentage of them drafting at number 1 versus percentage of them not drafting at number 1.
I think percentage of them drafting at number 1 is 35%, not drafting 65%. I think they will trade it. I think they'll only trade back maybe a few spots and try to get something, because I think what the Bears are looking for is defense.
I think, 35 is higher than I would think.
So you think it's...
I think they have probably about 15 to 20% chance that they draft at number 1.
Yeah, because I think here's the thing.
There's no point.
If you fall back to 2, 3, 4, I don't know.
They wouldn't. I don't think they'd go to 2.
I don't think they would even go to 2 anyways. But what I'm saying is, if you go to 3 and 4, you can still get like Will Anderson. I think from Alabama. Because here's the difference: is if the Texans trade up or people trade up, they're going to go quarterback.
Somebody will try and jump ahead of the Texans if they have one of the quarterbacks that they like more.
Yeah,
because the Texans are going to pick a quarterback. We know that.
Yeah,
they're at 2. So
who else needs a quarterback? Colts.
The Colts, the Raiders potentially.
I think the Raiders will.
The Panthers potentially.
Yeah.
Who else? The Seahawks maybe.
I don't know. I think
the Lions maybe.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's so hard because it's like, look at the Lions. They finished.
The Jets maybe.
Mike White. I don't know. I think it's so hard because there's literally 3 guys.
The Buccaneers maybe.
I think here's the deal. I could see Aaron Rodgers going to Vegas, back with Devontae,
really
making a storyline out of it. So we'll see what happens. But I do think obviously the Texans need to go quarterback. But here's the difference: is there a huge gap between the top 3 quarterbacks? I feel like we talk about it every year. I think it's one of those things where it's like,
I think there's a difference between the top 2 and 3. I don't think Levis is that good.
No, I don't think Levis is. But that's what I'm saying, 1 versus 2. So is CJ Stroud that much better than Bryce Young, or is Bryce Young that much better than CJ Stroud?
No, I think that will come down to who that team likes more.
Preference?
Yeah. I could totally see. Right. I mean, Bryce Young's been the projected number 1 pick for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And I could totally see CJ Stroud being number 1 pick.
Yeah, 100%. I think CJ Stroud played very well in that college football playoff game. I think he looked phenomenal.
Yeah. But so did Bryce Young.
Well, 100%.
In their bowl game.
100%. No. So I do think it's one of those things where it would be interesting to see what happens. But I don't, like you said, I think, it's going to be a lower percentage that they have to actually draft there. Mm-hmm. So
just because they need so much help, especially on defense.
Right, and you can get that defensive guy. Yep. So see what happens.
All right, there you have it. So now we're jumping into the playoffs. So the matchups are set. The seeds are set, obviously. Mm-hmm. So we got the Eagles getting the bye in the NFC, Chiefs getting the bye in the AFC.
Yeah.
Let's just go through the matchups, starting with the first one on Saturday.
Which is kind of crazy. So here's my question, and
here's an answer.
If the Bills would have beat the Bengals, obviously we know what happens. Mm-hmm. If the Bills would have beat the Bengals and then they would have won like they did, would they have been the number 1 seed? It was because the game was canceled. Which I'm not saying the game should have been played. I'm not sitting here saying that. I'm not doing that. But like they would have had the tiebreaker over Kansas City, correct? Yes. But they would have had to beat the Bengals.
Right.
Got it. Okay. So that's fair. So yeah, I think Kansas City being 1, it's not a team you want to play.
Probably not, no.
And here's the deal. We're talking what with AFC?
No, we're talking games. Starting with the first one on Saturday.
Yeah.
I think
so
you want to do that,
49ers.
or you want to do AFC then NFC?
I think AFC NFC breaks it down better. If we could.
Yeah, we can do that.
I just think it's easier when it's like, hey, that division.
Okay, so let's start with the first AFC game then.
Okay.
Which would be Saturday night. We got the Chargers going to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Currently, the line is Chargers -1.
So it's a pick-em.
Pretty close to it, yep.
Which I think it should be.
Chargers -1 away, and the over-under is 47.5.
Yeah,
what do you make of this matchup?
I think it should be. I think this is one of, if not the most intriguing games in the playoffs.
I think it's one of 2.
one of two, and I can already tell you the second one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's the most intriguing because you see a team like the Chargers who, I don't know, Mike Williams got carted off last game too. I don't know what the deal is with
X-rays were negative. It was a low back injury.
Oh, low back. So maybe he'll play, maybe not. Jaguars have looked great.
Can we talk about the Chargers just playing all their guys in a meaningless game?
First of all, playing all your guys in a meaningless game.
Like
also,
the whole game.
Not looking good.
No, they didn't. They were down by, 10 or 11 with all their starters playing against the Broncos.
Yeah, it was
who
bad.
Stunk this year.
Yeah, Broncos stunk. I mean, it's crazy. I think the crazy thing about it is the Chargers reloaded on defense. Like they got Khalil Mack. They have
had a lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries, I get that. But also I will say this too at the same time, their offense just sometimes just struggles. And watching part of that Denver game or seeing highlights from that Denver Chargers game, the amount of times that it was 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 3, and Herbert had 10 yards to run and would try to laser one in there. What are you doing? And maybe it's because he got hurt at the beginning of the year. I get that.
It's possible.
Sure. But, dude, let's go. If you're going to play, let's go. I mean, he's a good runner. He's a fast player. I mean, he's good. I just think it was crazy when they did that because I was just like, what are you? First of all, yeah, why are you guys playing? Second of all, what's the deal? It's 3rd and 3 and you try to laser one in that has a terrible window.
I was expecting, so the scenario was if Cincinnati beat the Ravens, then the Chargers were locked into the 5th seed, and then it didn't matter. Well, the Bengals and the Ravens played at 12, the Chargers and the Broncos played at 3:25.
So they knew.
So the game did go pretty close to game time. What I was expecting was, and granted, okay, so put yourselves in the Chargers' position. They want all their players ready to go. Just for instance, if the Ravens beat the Bengals, then they have to win that game to get the 5th seed,
100%.
right? So you want all the players to be preparing for the game, getting ready for it, just like a regular game,
100%.
right? And so what I was expecting them to do is they're preparing, the starters all start, they play a quarter, and then they're like, all right, we're good. We won't get anything out of this game. We won't lose anything.
Yeah.
And then they sit the rest of the game and play the backups.
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting.
I think that's what everyone was expecting on Twitter, on ESPN. Everyone was like, why are these guys still playing?
Yeah.
And they played almost the whole game.
They played into the 4th quarter. Justin Herbert's first drive that he didn't play, I believe, was 11, 12 minutes in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
So then they put Chase Daniels in. But then Keenan Allen is still in on that possession.
Well, and that's what's crazy, too, about that game and the Chargers is they've had so many injuries leading up to that. Why risk it?
Exactly.
Give the guys a few possessions, sure, get them loose, keep them loose. But also remember, your team has been the injury bug the whole season.
Exactly. All right, so back to this game here. So we got the Chargers and the Jaguars. Jaguars took care of business on, what was that? Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
On Saturday.
Against the Titans.
Beat the Titans. So now they're in the playoffs. Line is -1 Chargers. If you had to pick right now, which you do, who do you think is going to win?
I actually, it's not only who I think is going to win, I actually want to see them win, is the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching the Jaguars play. I think Trevor Lawrence has looked very good, and he'll just keep progressing. I think it's funny because people were ripping on the Jaguars early for giving up a lot of money for Evan Ingram, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
They're in the playoffs.
Uh-huh.
What else do you expect? And I think their defense is holding up. I think their defense is playing fine. I just think it's one of those things where it is crazy, where it's the Chargers just seem like they should be so much better than they are.
Mm-hmm. All right, over under. I also think the Jaguars are going to win. Yes. Yeah. Over under 47.5. What's your pick there?
I'm going to take the over. I think a decent amount of points will be scored, and I think Jacksonville will prove something. So, and like I said, Travis Etienne has looked good. Chargers can't stop anything on the run, so maybe he'll have a big day.
I mean, they gave up 30-some points to the Broncos.
Right. Latavius Murray had almost 100 yards rushing.
Yeah.
So
I also think it's the over.
Yeah.
So we're on the same page there.
That's one for one.
All right. So then we go to Sunday, first game of the day. You got the Dolphins heading to Buffalo to play the Bills. This is a 12 o'clock Central Time kickoff.
Yep.
And you got line currently is Buffalo 10.5 point favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Over under is 44.5. Tua is still questionable with concussion problems. And then I believe Raheem Mostert is hurt as well.
Thumb. They had surgery. They said he's like doubtful,
but they're not ruling him out yet.
Yeah. I mean, give me the Bills. I'm sorry. Give me the Bills. If Tua comes back and plays, do I think they can? Here's the hard part.
Cover the spread.
Cover the spread of 10.5? Sure. Mm-hmm. But it's also going to Buffalo, where it's a lot colder.
Yep.
I don't think they like that. They barely got in. They had to somehow beat the Jets 9-6.
No.
Oh, 11-6.
Yeah. But make sure, because that makes a big difference.
Because it was brutal.
Yeah, because it was 3. It
was 3.5.
3.5.
It was a brutal game to watch. They looked terrible. So if Tua's not playing, sorry, Josh Allen's going to have a day. I think they're going to be fine. Give me the Bills. 10.5.
Okay. Yeah.
It's hard to not say that.
I know. The Bills, I don't know. I think that they want more than anything else. I think they want a rematch with the Chiefs.
100%. 100%.
So I don't know what's going to stand in their way, if anything.
Bengals.
Yeah. But
that game will be very good.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but we're not forecasting anything. But Bills, Dolphins. What is your pick?
Yeah. I think that Miami covers, but the Bills win.
Okay. 10.5.
Mm-hmm. Over under 44.5.
I'll take. It's so hard because if Tua doesn't play. I'll take the under actually.
That's how I'm going.
I'll take the under. I just think it's hard when you go to Buffalo. You have to play Buffalo. So.
It's gonna be 28 and partly sunny.
Yeah, if that.
All right, there you go. Okay, so the third AFC game is also on Sunday night at Cincinnati. So the Ravens go back to Cincinnati. They just played in Week 18. Mm-hmm. What was the score of that game?
It was a lot. They would have covered 6.5.
Yeah, they freaking dominated. Oh, it was 27-16. So 11 points.
Lamar Jackson is still.
They're expecting him to play.
Okay, so that makes it closer. I like that.
So he's expected to play. They don't have to start their undrafted rookie quarterback.
Who's that?
Anthony Smith, I think.
Oh, is that who started last game? What's wrong with Huntley? He's hurt?
Huntley was hurt. Yep. Okay. They played Anthony Brown. My apologies.
Okay.
He was 19 of 44.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, Joe Burrow was 25 of 42. So, let's be honest. Okay, 19 of 44, not good. But 25 of 42, also not great.
No, not great, but I'll say that. What is the
19 of 44 was actually for 286 yards. Joe Burrow only had 215.
Yeah, interesting.
2 interceptions doesn't help to 1 touchdown for Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
But still, I'm just saying.
It's not terrible.
Not?
But I think if Lamar Jackson plays, I think that game
it's pretty terrible. Just it looks a little better side by side with Burrow's. Yeah. I also would like to say that it was one of the biggest boss comments in the post-game interview from Joe Burrow. Did you see that?
Yeah, where he was like, my whole career's open. Or
yeah, they were asking about the window and how
his whole career.
The roster is going to be different next year compared to this year. So, is there any focus on really trying to make this year count? And he's like, my whole career is the window. I was like, yes, that's awesome.
I think the crazy thing will be, I think they'll beat the Ravens. What is it? 6.5?
All right, so Bengals -6.5.
Yeah.
And the over-under is 43.5.
43.5?
So essentially what they're saying is Lamar Jackson makes a 4.5 point difference.
Okay, I'll take the Bengals still 6.5 at home.
Yeah, easy.
I don't think Lamar Jackson makes that big a difference.
Easy choice. Bengals -6.5.
Yeah, and I think the Bengals will play well. I feel
very confident in that one.
Yeah, Joe Burrow's put on an absolute show this year. But I think the Bengals will win.
Okay, over under 43.5. This is interesting.
Yeah, this is tough. You know what? I'm actually going to take the over. I think the game will be 28-17. That's 45. That is over.
Well, I was also wanting to take the over, but I feel like I should be different than you in some regard. I mean, there is a possibility that Lamar doesn't play.
I mean, here's the thing. We've had 2 games in the AFC where if the starting quarterback plays, it's a different story.
Way different.
I mean, if Tua plays that line for Buffalo, sure, we'll probably be still 5.5, 6.5.
No, more than that, I think.
You think it'll still be close to 8.5, 9.5?
I think it would be 7.5 to 8.5, somewhere in there.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, 10.5 is a lot of points, but without Tua, that could get ugly fast. But now Bengals, Ravens, I mean, without Lamar, that game's going to be a shite show too.
Yeah. So what was it at? 27-16. So they scored 43 last game. I gotta take the over.
Yeah.
If
they
Lamar
scored 43
plays,
without Lamar.
Yeah.
I don't see how not.
Wait. Yeah, 43.
I don't see how not you don't score more.
Exactly. So I don't understand that either.
But
all right, shifting over to the NFC. So we got Seahawks 49ers. So that's the first game on Saturday. First game of the playoffs this year. Seattle travels to the 49ers. Honestly, I think that of all the 2 seeds, so there was a lot of teams that could have been the 2 seed.
Yeah.
The Eagles, the Cowboys, the 49ers, and the Vikings all could have been the 2 seed. I think the best matchup for all of them was the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think nobody wanted to play the
Lions or the
Packers or the Lions. Yeah, you never know I was going to get pulled out for that games.
So it's at San Francisco. The line is San Francisco minus 10, so 10-point favorites.
So many points.
And the over-under is 43.
Why don't you go first?
Okay. I think the Seahawks will cover. Mainly because, I mean, they've played 2 times already this year. I'm not exactly sure what they've done in those games. I would assume the 49ers probably beat them both times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first game, week 2, they played and San Francisco won 27-7 in, what is that? 18, 17, 16. In week 15, San Francisco won 21-13.
Okay.
So, I mean, playing somebody 3 times challenging.
To beat them all 3 times.
In division rivalry, if you will, I think is challenging. So I'm going to go Seahawks cover the spread. I still think the 49ers will win, but I think they cover plus 10.
Okay.
Do you want to make your
I'm
pick?
going opposite. I think the 49ers will smoke them. I think the 49ers will win by 14 or more, and I think they'll hit the over. I watched the 49ers game against the Cardinals. Their offense is so good. So good. The 49ers are one of the teams to be reckoned with for the Super Bowl, period.
Yeah.
Their defense is outstanding.
Well, I don't think that's a hot take. I think they're one of the top,
They're one of the top 2, I would say.
in the NFC.
I think they're the number 1. Yeah, the Eagles, yeah. But I think for them, this game, I think they'll smoke them.
Okay. I think 43, so that means 24, 20, 17 to 28. That would be 45. All right, I'll take the over.
Yeah. I think the 49ers can score a lot of points.
I think the Seahawks could get to the high teens.
Yeah, I think so. I think the 49ers will have upper 20s, low 30s.
17 to 28, that wouldn't cover the spread.
That's 45.
I know, but that wouldn't cover the spread, and I picked the Seahawks.
What's the spread? Oh.
20 to 28. We'll go with that.
28. There it is.
All right, I'll take the over in Seahawks. All right, so then we fast forward to the biggest game of the weekend. The Giants are traveling to Minnesota to play the Vikings.
Yep.
At US Bank Stadium.
Yep.
The line, Sunday 3:30, so right in the middle, smack dab in the middle on Sunday. We got Vikings -3, over under 48.5. So we have currently the highest over under of the weekend in Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
Also, let's see. It's also the only indoor game. The whole weekend, there's only one indoor game.
And it's us.
And it's us.
Yeah. Well, obviously, taking the Vikings.
Obviously.
-3.
I mean,
is the over under 48?
It's 48.5.
That's just a lot of points.
It's a lot of
our
points.
Defense stinks. Man, I'll take the under, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the under. I think the Vikings still win. I think somehow.
I mean, 28-20 would hit the under.
Yeah, that seems like a lot, doesn't it?
It seems like a lot. And I know that the Giants will probably score.
Oh, 100%.
But it seems like a lot of points for the Giants to score. Who did they play this last weekend? I know it didn't really
they got
matter.
smoked by the Eagles. Smoked. But they played some random quarterback. They didn't play anybody.
They only lost by 6.
Yeah, but
16-22.
it was bad. And then I watched a little bit of that. They played like Davis Webb at quarterback.
Yeah.
And he ran one in, which wasn't bad. But I think, I don't know.
They scored at the end, so it was 22-8 or whatever.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know. I think it'll be a good game. Hopefully. I mean, hopefully, obviously, I think the Vikings will pull it out, but I just think it'll just come down to, hey, how good
What do you think
does our defense?
the number one key to the game is?
The number one key?
Yeah. Number one key that will make the Vikings win the game.
I would say limiting Saquon Barkley to less than like 5 or 6 catches. I think him out of the backfield is what's going to kill us, if anything. I think we give up way too many rinky-dink plays. Like, if we're up by 8, let's shut them up and let's play. Like, what are we doing? We need to blitz more. Let's blitz. Let's blitz. I hate watching... The only thing I hate watching about the Vikes... Well, there's a few things, but one of the big things I hate watching about the Vikes is they always show the defensive coordinator and they praise him. They're like, oh, he has a...
Who's praising Donatel?
Every single announcer, you watch the
no.
games and they show Donatel and they're like, he has a great track record. He's doing well. This is just an off year, whatever. And it's like, what do you mean it's an off year? Every single time we're winning, the bro literally would just go, here you go. Here you go.
We're going to need a little
Hey, guys, we're
more.
only up by 1 score. We're up by 7. Okay, here we go. Giants score in 25 seconds. We want the ball, actually.
So, Saquon did have 8 catches against the Vikings.
Yeah, I think limiting him to 4 or 5 catches and, I don't know, maybe getting 3 or 4 sacks. That's big time.
He had 14 rushes for 84 yards and 8 catches for 49 yards.
Yeah, just limited him. That's all it is.
I think the biggest key is, 1, fast start.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I want to give 2. Fast start for us. Either if they start with the ball, we have to get a stop. Or if we start with the ball, got to score.
Yeah.
That's number 1. And number 2 is limiting plays more than 15 to 20 yards.
For the Giants, yeah. Yeah.
Limiting their plays of 15 to 20 yards or more.
Yeah, 100%. I think the biggest thing, too, is you watch the games that we've lost. Like, so you watch the Dallas Cowboys game. You watch the Packers game. The first possession left, big plays left and right, but the first few possessions, we turnovers. Mm-hmm. Dallas Cowboys, we fumbled the ball the first play.
Yeah.
Oh, Packers, we had a pick. It's like, you can't put yourself in that hole because you basically just gave them the kickoff.
Yeah.
And they get the ball at halftime.
I'd really like it if we won the toss and deferred.
100%. I would love to go on defense first because if you stop them on defense first,
and
you get that momentum.
Yeah.
100%. 1,000%.
All right, so we both on
Vikings.
We're both on the Vikes, yeah. Man, 48.5. That's a lot.
Oh, yeah. Some would say.
I don't even know what we're averaging. A lot.
Giving up?
50. Well, we scored 51 against them overall last game. I'll take the over. It's probably less likely than the under, but I'll take the over.
Okay.
And then moving on, Monday night. So last game of the weekend, we got, in my opinion, the other game. I know.
Most intriguing game. 100%.
Yeah. There's 2 in my eyes. Jaguars, Chargers. The other one is this one. Monday night, Cowboys travel to Tampa Bay.
Yep. Line
is Cowboys -3 on the road.
Yeah.
And the over-under is 45.5.
Cowboys.
Buccaneers, they played, who did they play weekend.
They lost to the Falcons.
They played
Tom
the
Brady
Falcons.
did only play. I mean,
Yeah, they did.
They actually only played their guys for a certain amount of time.
Which is smart because they didn't have anything to win, didn't have anything to lose, get some momentum, and then we're good. So they did exactly what I was expecting the Chargers to do.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys, they came out, played their guys the entire game because there was a possibility they could get the 2 seed, I believe.
If the Eagles lost.
Yeah, if the Eagles lost and they won, then they would have been the 2. Because
and
the 49ers would have
been the 1.
Yes. But they just absolutely laid an egg. Looked awful against Washington. Could not do anything on offense.
Yeah, 100%.
That was embarrassing.
And I think that's the difference is, like, what Cowboys team are we getting?
Nobody knows.
Right? You don't know, and, like, also Dak Prescott looked god-awful.
You do know one thing, that Dak's probably going to throw an interception.
100%.
7 games in a row.
I mean, he's looked mediocre at best.
Bad. I would say bad.
I just think it's one of those things where it is so crazy going to Tampa, being 3-point favorites. I think Tampa Bay has been trash too this year.
Mm-hmm. That's what makes it so hard. It's like you just saw the Cowboys. Recency bias tells you, man, they stunk against Washington, a team that didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But then you think about the whole season, and it's like, man, the Bucs stink. They've looked awful the whole year. But yet, somehow they made it into the playoffs in the worst division in football. Yeah. And now they're in the playoffs. They're hosting a game. And could they actually, like, kind of figure it out and like, beat the Cowboys?
No. I'll take the Cowboys -3. I think the Cowboys will figure it out. I think there was part of it where the Cowboys were kind of overlooking the Commanders, which I mean, they still played their guys. I get it.
They did.
But
the entire game.
At the same time, Tom Brady has looked literally god-awful all year. I'm sorry. He's looked bad. He's looked like he should have retired. I know his stats might be whatever. Watching him play, like, even when he played the Bengals, like, 4 turnovers, 2 fumbles. I don't know. Dallas' defense is scary.
They weren't scary against the Commanders.
Yeah, but they only gave up, like, 20 points.
Still.
20 points, and one of them was a pick 6, which isn't on the defense.
Do you think that how much I would expect that you would say the Commanders' defense is better than the Buccaneers' defense?
No. I don't know.
You think the Buccaneers' defense?
I think the Buccaneers' defense has a lot more talent on it. They have some injuries too. But I don't know. They're very similar to me.
Okay, so
very
similar.
Yeah, similar.
Cowboys scored, 6 points this last weekend?
Yep. Was it 6? Did they even get 6? They had a touchdown, yeah. CD Lamb.
Yeah. They scored 6 points. So Washington gives up 6 points to Dallas. How many do you think Tampa Bay's going to give up to the Dallas?
I think Dallas will score.
You think they're back to their
I think they're going to be fine. Yeah, I think they are going to be fine. I think.
Well, how much do you think the Bucs are going to score then?
I think the Bucs will score. I think the final score will be 27-20. And that is the Cowboys. For me. I think the Cowboys will be back. I think they'll find it. I just don't ever think the Tampa Bay has found it or will find it. I think it's just time where it's like your division was trash. That's the reason you're here. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
I'm gonna go opposite.
Both Bucs.
Both ways. Bucs under.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I think I think the defense of Dallas. I think the defense of Dallas will score a touchdown.
Really?
Yes.
Fumble or?
I think a pick 6 or a fumble.
Interesting. I don't think so. I think Tom comes up. He's like, it's the playoffs. This is what I live for.
Nah, Tom's done.
No.
Tom's ready to be done. Tom's ready to just enjoy whatever he is going to enjoy. I don't know if he golfs. I don't know what he does.
He's just
he's ready to be done.
Football man.
And he's ready to be done this year. So
okay, give me your pick right now. NFC, AFC, Super Bowl teams. The 2 teams go into the Super Bowl. NFC, AFC.
Man.
And keep it okay. So let's break it down. AFC. So with the Bills-Bengals game being canceled in Week 17. That means that if it is the Bills and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, then that's at a neutral site. They haven't named it. Obviously, they probably won't until
it comes.
Until it gets to that point.
Right.
But that's one thing to keep in mind. 2, So if everything goes chalk, it would be the Chiefs against the Jaguars, and then the Bills against the Bengals. If it was chalk.
Yeah. I think it'll be, I actually do think it will be Bills versus Chiefs in the championship, and I will take the Bills.
Is that, I mean, can I speak for everybody and say that that's what we want?
Yeah, I think we want that, and I think we also want the semifinal game leading up to it. I think we want to see the Bengals play the Bills.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like just thinking back to last year's Bills-Chiefs game,
Yeah.
it's like, we want that again.
Or even this year.
Will it be the same as last year? Probably not, but we want that. Bills.
Well, you have two people who are the face of the NFL,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen.
Yep.
So it's like obviously the TV wants them to do that.
Oh yeah.
Obviously everyone, but here's the difference: is if everything goes like you said, I think you said as chalk.
Yeah.
Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, potential face of the NFL in the future. Joe Burrow,
Potential.
becoming the face of the NFL as well. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Or Justin Herbert if you want to replace Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like, I think everyone does want to see Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes because I think that's kind of just a back and forth, like MVP here, MVP here, MVP here, MVP here. So I think that will be a fun game to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I take the Bills.
Yeah. I think if I had to, if I was betting, I would pick the Chiefs just because I think that their game against the Jaguars or the Chargers is going to be easier than the Bengals
100%.
versus the Bills. And so, in terms of confidence, I'd probably go Chiefs, knowing that it could entirely be the Bills that beat the Chiefs, but to avoid the potential game that they lose against the Bengals and get a for sure possibility of getting to the Super Bowl, I'd probably pick the Chiefs.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
And then NFC, who would be your pick right now?
49ers.
Really?
Yep. I think the 49ers offense is absolutely clicking.
Mm-hmm.
You have all your guys back, obviously upgraded with Christian McCaffrey. Your defense is figuring it out, even with whatever injuries they've had. I mean, they look like the team to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they look really good.
And here's the thing. Like we talked about the Eagles-Giants game. And I get it, teams look over other teams, and I get they scored late. The Eagles only scored 22 points.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it, they probably started playing some other guys, whatever. But Jalen Hurts played the majority of the time. A.J. Brown was out there a lot. Miles Sanders was out there. I don't know. I think the Eagles might have peaked too early. I think the Eagles are a great team, but I think it'll be Eagles 49ers. I hate saying that, but Eagles 49ers, and I do think the 49ers will go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I think, it's hard to pick somebody to beat the 49ers before the NFC Championship.
Vikes.
It's possible.
Let's go.
I think it's possible, definitely.
I think it is possible. I think every single time, well, not every time, but you look at it, it's just like what was it, 2 years ago? We went to San Francisco
You
in the
got
playoffs.
demolished.
We got demolished. But I'm not trying to make excuses or whatever, but I think we are a different team. But I think the hardest part is in the playoffs, it's a lot harder to come back on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And we've shown we can come back in a lot of games, but they haven't been to the caliber of teams like the 49ers.
And all the games that we've played, teams that are to that caliber, we've been demolished.
100%.
In the regular season. So
Right.
I'm hopeful that, I don't know if I would say the Giants are to that level.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, and we've already beaten them this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the Vikings should win this first weekend.
Yep.
And then against the 49ers, it's possible, definitely. But, I don't even know what I would project the spread to be at San Francisco. Probably 6.5.
Yeah, 49ers.
Probably.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, and I think it'll come down to one of those games where I think it's just one of those things like we've talked about, even with what we want to do with the Giants. You have to score early to maintain the momentum.
Yeah.
Because you can't turn it over, you can't do whatever. But when you're playing on the road in the playoffs, if for some reason or whatever you don't go score and they go down and just march down and score, it's tough. Because the Vikings want to run the ball a little bit, but also at the same time, we have to be able to run to set up the play action.
Yeah.
You have to.
It almost acts as a kind of like a psychological thing.
Mm-hmm.
we got beat down by the Eagles. We got beat down by the Cowboys. We got beat down by
Packers.
the Packers, right? Those are 3 out of we have 5 losses? Or 13 and 4? Oh, yeah. So 4 losses.
We lost the Lions. We lost the Lions.
Yeah, so those are 3 games that we got beat down, right? And psychologically, if we just start the game so poorly, give up a touchdown, can't score on our first drive, they come down and score again, then it's like, oh, now we're in this game again where they're scoring every time they get the ball. We're not scoring. Like, here we go.
Right. Well, I think it was one of those things. I think what was hard to tell and what was tough is the Packers have a decent defense. Their defense is pretty good, and say what you want about the field conditions, whatever. But like, it's so hard when your main focus then is you're throwing the ball to every single down, basically.
Yeah, because
and then you just basically smother Jefferson and say, "Hey, good luck, go for it."
Yeah.
Who are you going to throw to? And it's like, well, we can't run, so we're not doing play action. We're not doing any of this stuff. And so I think it does. I think it makes it tough. But I think at the same time, I think, like you said, let's just get through week 1 and then.
Right. Exactly.
Out.
My pick is Eagles.
Yeah, I think those are the 2 main. I mean. Yeah. I think this
so
side...
it'd be Eagles, Chiefs for me, and it'd be 49ers, Bills. I think those are...
those are the final 4.
I mean, it's not like we're saying anything crazy because those are the top 2 seeds in each conference. But I think they're clearly separated themselves with the addition of potentially the Bengals. Yeah. As the top 5 teams. Yeah. Pretty much.
I think it'll just be hard, last thing on it. Like, I think it'll be hard... Let's say for the 49ers, if when in the championship, they have to go to Philadelphia.
Exactly. That's what I'm taking into account.
Because
I would expect it to be like probably 2.5 spread to the Eagles. Yeah. 2.5 point favorites. That would be my guess.
Right. Sure.
If I had to project.
That's the hardest part is you go across the country.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing in the freezing cold. You're not used to playing in the cold.
Yep.
I mean, the difference is like with Buffalo and Kansas City, it's almost the same. It's cold.
Probably the good thing, because I believe those 2 games are the exact same day, right? And so if it is, in fact, the Bills and the Chiefs and the Eagles and the 49ers, the Eagles-49ers game will be first.
Because 100%. You want prime time.
They want prime time, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So, like, that will make it at least a little warmer.
Yeah. It'll make it a little warmer, but at the same time, it won't be warm. So.
Yeah. Last thing, NFL-wise, I figured it'd be a good time to circle back to our NFL draft.
Okay.
Where we each picked 5 teams.
Yeah.
So David's picks were the Bucks, playoff team. Good job. The Rams.
Not a
playoff team. 49ers, Super Bowl contender.
Potential.
Broncos.
Not a
playoff team. Colts.
Definitely.
Not a playoff team. All right. My picks. We got the Bills.
Playoff team.
Super Bowl contender.
Yep.
Chiefs.
Super Bowl contender.
Chargers.
Yeah.
Playoff. Eagles. Contender. Bengals.
Yeah. There you go. So you're 5 for 5.
Whoa, baby.
Unfortunately, it only matters who wins the whole thing.
Unfortunately, I only have 1 team in the conference that you have both.
So
teams.
Literally the Eagles. Eagles, 49ers.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's what it's going to come down to.
So there we go.
At least I feel very confident with having at least 1 team in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you don't have 1 team, I don't know.
If you tell me that an AFC team not named the Bills, Chiefs, or Bengals make the Super Bowl, then I would take that bet 100 out of 100 times.
Yeah. I wonder what's more likely. That?
What teams does that leave? The
Jaguars
and the
Ravens.
Dolphins
and the Ravens.
Yep. Yeah, right.
What's more likely? Do you think at the beginning of the year, or now looking at it, to say that one of those 4 teams won't make the Super Bowl, or the Packers not making the playoffs? Food for thought. You don't have to answer it because I don't want you to create enemies, but food for thought. It's just food for thought.
You guys can think about that.
It's just food for thought. Yeah. Food for thought because I think it's so funny now. Granted, this is what happens at work when we have a group chat of just a bunch of doinks. Is every single Packer fan has 2 things now to say. 1, how does it feel to get smoked by a non-playoff team? Sure, I get it, but we also beat you the first game, and we're also in the playoffs. Second thing, well, how many Super Bowl rings do you have?
That's what they always come back to.
I get it. But it's so stupid. Such a stupid argument, but...
It's a little bit sweeter to hear when we're in the playoffs they're not.
Food for thought. Yeah. At least you'll be watching us on Sunday.
And with that, that's the end of episode 43.
Peace out.
Peace.